Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on digital signatures for the cloud. I'm Julie Olinsky with the Global Sign Marketing team, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. We have a great group of presenters on deck for today. Evan Wada from Global Sign, Garrett Peters from Zetas, and Vera Yordanova from iText. Here's what we have in store today. Evan's going to kick things off with a technical overview of digital signatures, including your deployment options. Garrett is going to demo Zetas' document signing platform and provide more information on their use cases. Finally, Vera is going to wrap everything up with an explanation of why you should use PDFs for your document workflows. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please use the questions panel in your GoToMeeting interface. We'll get to them all at the end of the session. And now over to Evan for the digital signatures overview.
All right, there are two main components of a digital signature, a digital certificate and a document you want to sign. A digital certificate is kind of a virtual passport. It's a third-party verification entity called a certificate authority, verifies your identity and issues you a certificate based on that. Since the certificate is unique to you, using it to sign a document is a way for you to prove that it's really you signing that document. When you apply a digital signature, a cryptographic operation binds your digital certificate and the data being signed, for example a PDF or other document, into one unique fingerprint. The uniqueness of the two components of the signature, the signer's identity and the data, are what makes digital signatures a viable replacement to wet ink signatures. So let's take a closer look at what that means. So what are we looking for in a digital signature? First, integrity. We want assurance that the document hasn't been changed somewhere in the workflow. Second is authenticity. We want assurance that the author of the document is who we think it is and not somebody else. Third, non-repudiation. We want assurance that the author can't deny his authorship. Now let's take a closer look at the cryptographic process going on behind the scenes that help digital signatures meet these goals. I'll start with applying the signature. First, when you click Sign in a digital signature compliant program, such as Adobe, Acrobat, or Microsoft Office, a unique digital fingerprint called a hash of the document is created utilizing a mathematical algorithm. This hash is specific to this particular document, and even the slightest change would result in a different hash. Second, the hash is encrypted using the private key from your digital certificate. And third, the encrypted hash and your public key are combined into a digital signature, which is then appended to the document. The digitally signed document is now ready to be shared. Now let's take a look at what happens when someone opens the document that you've digitally signed. First, when your recipient opens the signed document, the program automatically uses the signer's public key, which is included in the digital signature with the document, to decrypt the document hash. Second, the program calculates a new hash for the document. If this new hash matches the decrypted hash from step 1, the program knows that the document has not been altered and displays the message, the document has not been modified since the signature was applied. Third, the program will also display the identity of the signer based on the public key that was used to apply the signature. All right, now that we've seen what's going on behind the scenes, let's take a quick look at what a digitally signed document looks like. Here's an example of a PDF, and you can see at the top that the signer's name is clearly displayed, and this information is pulled from the public key used to apply the signature. If you click through the signature details, you can see a note that the document hasn't been modified since it was signed from the hash match that we covered earlier. If the hashes hadn't matched, meaning the document had been altered, you would see a warning at the top of the document rather than a nice blue ribbon. So what are we looking for in the digital signature? First off, integrity. We want to make sure the hash comparison checks that the document has not been altered. Second, authenticity, that the public key confirms the author's identity. And third, non-repudiation. If the hash can be decrypted with the public key, then the document was signed with the corresponding private key, which should be in sole possession of the owner. One last concept I want to cover is signature expiration. Because digital signatures are tied to digital certificates, which have expiration dates or can be revoked, people often worry about what's going to happen to the signature after the certificate is no longer valid. With some signatures, once your cert expires, the signature on the document will show a warning indicating that it's no longer valid, as indicated by the yellow triangles in the graphic here. Revoking a certificate will cause a similar situation. Even if the certificate was valid at the time of signing, after it's been revoked, the signature will break. So how can you survive revocation and expiration? The reason these events cause problems in the first place is because when the software goes to validate the signature, it checks the validity of the signing certificate at that moment in time. So if the certificate status is expired or revoked, it will show an error. The solution to this problem is to enable long-term validity by adding a third-party timestamp from a certified timestamping authority to your signature. This way, if the status of the certificate was valid at the time of signing, regardless of the status now, it will show a valid signature. Also, a third-party timestamp, unlike a system clock, cannot be modified, so there's no questioning the validity of the date and time that the signature was placed. Now that you've seen the technology behind digital signatures and how they work, let's look at how to actually implement them within your environment. The client-side option is ideal for lower volume signing. The signing certificate is usually stored locally on a USB token, and signatures are most often applied using a desktop application such as Adobe Acrobat or an in-house custom creation. There are also industry-specific applications like Bluebeam for engineering. Client-side deployments are most common when an individual person needs to sign off on something. For example, engineering firms that need each engineer to sign off on project plans, lab reports in biopharma, insurance documentation for healthcare professions are just a few examples. The server-side option is ideal for companies using an internally developed or off-the-shelf automated document generation software to generate and manage large volumes of documents. The signing certificate is stored on an HSM. GlobalSign supports on-premise HSM deployments, but we also offer a hosted option, where the signing credential is stored on a virtual HSM partition. Server-side deployments are most commonly used for certifying signatures, when you want to lock down a document from future changes and usually use a company or department credential. For example, an insurance company might want to digitally sign all new insurance applications. Now I'm going to hand over to Vera to cover the implementation side.
Thank you, Evan. Hi, my name is Vera Yordanova, and I'll be presenting today on behalf of iText. So our next part of the presentation is a customer case study. Zetes of Belgium, who implemented a digital signing solution. And once we see a demo, we'll go on and talk about PDF in particular and how you implement workflows in PDF for digital signature. But just before we start, we have prepared several poll questions to make sure we're staying relevant for the audience. We wanted to ask you about your plans with digital signature, and this will be also a chance for you to know where you stand compared to other companies. So our question number one is your organization planning on implementing digital signatures? So the poll is on. Giving it a couple more seconds. Sounds like most people voted now, so that's perfect. We have almost 70% saying yes, they're planning on implementing digital signatures. Second question is, are you considering building it in-house or using a third-party solution? So the options are in-house or third-party, or maybe you're not sure or you're not planning. So a few more seconds, but sounds like the answers are getting spread out evenly between the options. So yeah, so half the people are in-house, have implementing third-party, and the rest are not sure. So then question number 3 is, if you are implementing digital signature, what is your primary reason? Is it decreasing cost? Is it improving customer experience? Is it speeding up the process? This is one of the most interesting ones. Waiting a few more seconds for everyone to put their vote. Interesting. So speeding up document turnaround, that's very interesting. This morning we had a similar session for Europe, and for the European audience it was improving customer experience, but sounds like US is so much more about speed. So that's very interesting. So let's see what a real survey says for the industry. These are the top 3 reasons for implementing digital signature: reducing time to revenue. So digital signing makes it possible to reduce turnaround time by 80% because you remove all the physical bottlenecks. In terms of money savings, it's about 20%, $20 on average per document. So once you multiply that to thousands of documents and signatures, the savings become exponential. And digital signing also increase your customer loyalty, because now that's a value add and you become so much more easier to do business with. So that's our study and our polls. So I'll turn it now to Gert Peters, who is joining us from Belgium. He is a project manager for Zetas with their solution eazysien. Welcome, Gert. Thank you for hanging out with us so late. It's already 8 o'clock there. So Gert will go on with showing us eazysien and a demo.
Okay, thank you, Vera, for introducing me, and good afternoon, or for me it's actually a good evening, so don't know what to say. As Vera stated, I will present you today our solution eazysien. eazysien, as the name says, is a solution as a web-based solution or cloud solution for the easy signing of electronic documents. Vera also told I'm working for Zetas, which is a Belgian company, and within Belgium we're actually very fortunate, and that in the sense that every citizen is in the possession of an electronic identity card, which is a chip card in Belgium, and this card holds a unique certificate that allows people to sign. And according to the Belgian law, when you sign with the certificate on this chip card, on this ID card, you put a valid or legal digital signature that holds the same value as a so-called wet signature. And that's very interesting, and that's why Zetas came up with the eazysien solution that actually stands in between, on the one hand, a consumer, and on the other hand, a business entity. And what happens through our eazysien platform is that we regulate the legal signing of electronic consumer agreements for businesses, for business partners in a B2C business environment. The way our platform works is actually very straightforward. It is the business entity that remains responsible for the content and the creation of the document. Once this is done, it can be uploaded as a PDF document to our eazysien platform. And from this platform, we steer the entire signing process. It means that the consumer can then view, validate the document content, and also put a digital signature. The handling of the document and the putting of the signature is actually very intuitive, and as will be shown during our live demo. Our eazysien solution operates in an operating system independent way, which means that it runs not only on desktop via web browsers, as I will show later on during the demo, but it also runs on mobile devices such as iOS devices and Android devices. And this is because we put a so-called deferred signature in our, we use a so-called deferred signature process, where the signature is calculated locally on the device based on the connection with the chip card, but the validation and the treatment of the signature is done on the server side. The eazysien signed PDF documents are PADES compliant and more specific LTV compliant. LTV stands for long-term validation, and that allows that the validity of a signature can be checked over a longer period in time, even after the certificate has been expired. In order to do this, in order to support this, we use the Global Sign Timestamp Authority. Our solution finally comes as a SaaS model, which allows easy integration into the business environment of our customers, and also allows a high adoption rate towards the end users who should sign a contract for these business partners. What we're now going to do is switch over to this live demo, and Julie or Vera, please switch the screen to my control. Okay, so I take control and I will show you my screen. And in order to explain this demo, we should assume that a business party, for this case, a service company, has uploaded and created a document, and they can use iText for this in a very easy way, and has uploaded a document, a PDF document, to our platform. Once that has been done, a notification has been sent to the end consumer, and I play this role during this demo, and this is what we actually see. So I've received a notification that there is a document on the eazysien platform that is available to get signed. By clicking on this, I hope I'm not lost. By clicking on this screen, what happens is that the view towards this PDF document is opened. And what we see here is the control of the document, so we can page through the PDF document with this web browser, and we can also zoom in and zoom out in the document. What we also see here is an overview of the signatures that are should be set on this document. And as you can see, it is the intention that myself, first I will have to sign in the first stage, and that somebody else, a supervisor, also will sign the document. So, what we do now is that we scroll down the document, and what we see here in this document is that the signature fields that were created within the PDF document are actually represented as a clickable zone. Clicking on it opens a signing wizard, and what we see here is the signing wizard that is being created for this particular signer field. And what it asks is, in fact, that I click this checkbox for approving before signing. And when I click so, this signing button here in this dial-up, in this pop-up box appears. When I click sign, what happens now is that a Java applet is started that will actually make the connection towards the card reader for the chip card reading. And as you can see, at this moment, there's no chip card present in my card reader, and the applet is asking for it. When I insert it, my credentials are read out, and a dialog comes open to get access through a PIN code to this chip card. And by entering the right PIN code, signature will be placed. The way it works has been explained earlier on, so a hash of the document has been sent to the chip card chip is making a signature over the hash of the document. And as you can see here, the result is that a visual confirmation of the signature is shown. This part is actually fully customizable within our platform, so that there's a very straightforward and transparent way the signature is placed, and that the consumer who's putting the signature can also see what happened. When I click now and I try to put the signature on the supervisor field, what will happen is that the same action will be done, but there's an additional control being built in our system that also is doing the checking of the identity of the person that needs to sign, and this is done through the social security number on my on the certificate on my EID card. And as you can see, I am not entitled to this field. So what I now will do is I will switch cards, and I will put in a dedicated ship card that is meant for this demo, and I will play now the role of the supervisor. And then we do it again, and what happens is that the same actions are done. The identity is read out, and then again the PIN code should be entered to put a signature. When this is done, another signature is placed, and as you can see, a different kind of visualization of the signature is placed. What I will do now next is download the document in order to visualize the PDF outside our platform, which is very important because the document remains also valid outside our platform and can be downloaded and checked over there as well. So these are actually a technical document page of our server, and I use it to easily download the document. So I now download the document, and what is happening now is that the document is downloaded and shown in an Adobe reader. As you can see here as well, is that the document content is actually the same as was being shown in the web browser, and when by clicking on this panel that shows the signature panel, we can see all the different electronic signatures that are placed within this document. And what we do here is, when we go into detail here, we can see that the details of this signature correspond to the actual appearance that was put within the document itself. So here you can see the location, and there's the timestamp that was being put on the document itself. Now we should switch back to the presentation, where I do a quick wrap-up of the tools that we were using to build this solution. So what we have been using for building this the solutions are in fact two major partners, being iText and Global Sign. And iText can be used first of all for document generation, but is also used within our platform to do the handling of the PDF document itself. So the introduction of the signatures and the signature appearance within the document is done through iText. And Global Sign, as I explained during my presentation, is providing us the timestamp authority in order to provide the PDFs as a long-term to provide the long-term validity of the PDF documents, but is also used as issuer of certificates to dedicated chip cards. So this was my presentation, and I give the word back to Vera.
Thank you, Geert. Thank you so much for demonstrating eazysien. So I will proceed with talking about iText in particular, and more about PDF, so that our attendees understand the role of PDF and why is it so important for digital signature. So as you can see in this diagram, iText, we like to portray it as an engine So you can use all your data sources, web forms to get data and crunch it into a PDF. So and it could be a industry compliant, standards compliant PDF for archiving, universal accessibility, and so on. So the thing to know, iText is it's a library. It's a developer library, and it's used to embed high volume PDF generation or manipulation into other applications, just how we saw it done within eazysien. So it's available for programming into on the .NET platform, on Java, as well as Android and Google App Engine. It's one of the most popular libraries on the market. It's compliant with all the existing and upcoming standards. Libraries are coded in very efficient way, and it's super easy to get started for developers because it doesn't require any training or setup. So that's why it's so popular. But I want to give you a little bit of more understanding about PDF itself as a format. It's the second most used format after HTML on the web, and it's more and more useful in view of the big data and our enterprise IT systems, because PDF is a document file type that has metadata and structure inside. It can hold interactivity, so that makes it super versatile for things like archiving. So you can see here different flavors of PDF. Like PDF-A is a standard for archiving. You can include, for example, embedded fonts or file attachments that can be valid many years from now, regardless of how technologies change. PDF is readable by machines. It's accessible by machine readers. You can embed digital signature. We're going to cover that, of course, in more detail today. You can have forms, secure exchange of invoices, and so on. So very versatile for different purposes. And these are all addressed in the capabilities of iText. So talking about PDF in the cloud, so just like I said, it is one of the most popular formats, but once in the cloud, PDF becomes even more powerful due to those features. So it's accessible everywhere on any type of device. You don't have to install any PDF reader anymore. You can define digital rights. You can lock or unlock content or features. You can enable markup and reviews for more sophisticated collaboration, comment, messaging, versioning. Again, you don't have to install anything. It's programmable, that in the way that you can build workflows for e-signing, different approval workflows, and you can integrate into your entire document management process, track everything, and so on. So that's to give us understanding of PDF, and then go back to our main topic today, which is digital signature. So for the more curious of the audience, this is what a PDF looks like inside. So this is inside a PDF. On the right-hand side, you can see it always, PDF document starts with the % sign, PDF, and the version of PDF 1.x. And the document always ends with the $% sign and EOF. And then you have contents in the middle, where this is the place where digital signature is inserted. So according to ISO standard 32000, PDF is an international standard. So it's freely implementable. It's not dependent on any particular vendor. So the standard for PDF requires that the digital signature at the very least contains the signing certificate, and then as a best practice it should also contain the full certificate chain. So the higher the certificate, the more secure, the revocation information, and the timestamp that Evan was talking about earlier. So the other interesting thing about PDF and digital signatures is you can build a whole custom workflow any way you want, and that was at the core of the eazysien solution. You can embed different signing sequence or co-signing in the PDF workflow. So the interesting thing that is shown in this diagram is that every subsequent signature signs the signature above it. So signature number 2 is signing signature number 1, and then signature number 3 is signing signature number 2 and 1. So that kind of arrangement ensures that there are no changes made to the document. So you cannot have parallel signatures. It's just one document. So there are also two types of signatures. There's the certification signature and the approval. Certification is also known as the author signature. It's only possible with the first revision, and then the certifier, they can decide whether they will allow changes to be made to the document or form filling or signing, commenting, so they can either allow it or not allow it. And the approval signature is the recipient signature, so it's saying I agree with this contract. And approval signature can also lock the document or just the field, or just like the certification signature. There are some other possible icons that can be seen within PDF. There's the little yellow triangle. That means that the author cannot be verified, but that doesn't mean a broken signature. The red cross means a broken signature if something has been altered or corrupted in the document. So I will go on with showing you just a couple simple examples built with iText, just the workflow. So this is an example of a serial signing. So we have several fictitious characters. We have Alice, and then Bob, Carol, and Dave from the same organization. Alice is the author of this document. She's the certifier, so she signed with a certification signature, and after her you can see how the document was read and approved by Bob and then signed, then read and approved by Carol and signed, and read and approved by Dave and signed. So the second example is a document where something went wrong. We have Alice also the certifier. You have Bob as the second signer, but then we can see on the right hand side something happened and it says changed by Chuck. So when Carol decided to sign, her signature was not valid anymore because the document was changed by Chuck. And then the next person, Dave, also even if they sign, their signature will not be valid. So these are workflows that were built with iText, and as a follow-up to the webinar, we will provide more resources of where to find those code samples, and you can try and build some proof of concept yourself if you're interested. But that's our presentation for today. So we covered digital certificates, we saw a demo of eazysien, and we covered PDF and workflows. So our takeaway for today is digital signatures allow us to deliver value faster as a business. Customers want e-signatures, and the customer experience benefits are the driver for adoption. And one of the really important ones that we try to demonstrate today e-signature is not just by itself, but it's used to manage your document workflow. So you can manage the sequence and how consumers and the business organization works with documents. So that's a very good way to use e-signature. And of course, we need to mention mobile devices that are further accelerating signature request turnaround times. So that's about it, and now we are ready to answer any questions you might have. So I would like to open the floor for questions.
Okay, great. Thanks, Vera. So let's take a look at what we have here. I guess first things first, a couple people have asked if we're going to be sharing the slides or sending around a recording. Yes, of course. We are recording this presentation, and we also will make the slides available on SlideShare. We'll send around links to both of those in an email. You should get that within the next day or so keep an eye out. Feel free to share this with your team or, other organizations if you want. They will be made available to you. So let's move on to your questions. Let's see here. So, let's see, kick things off. What's the difference between electronic and digital signatures? So that's a great question. Maybe Vera, if you want to take that.
Yeah. We actually get that a lot. So depends where you ask that question. In the U.S., we do make a distinction. So electronic signatures don't necessarily involve PKI infrastructure, but digital signature, everything that we covered today in our webinar, this requires PKI infrastructure, and this is what we call digital signature. So we distinguish between the two in the U.S. So e-signature is just doesn't need any special infrastructure around it, the way we talk today. In Europe, we interchange, we speak about electronic signature, but as a synonym of digital signature, and all the laws and regulations accept that. There's no sharp distinction. That's it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Vera. So let's see, moving along here. Maybe this one might be one for Gear. What other kind of workflows can you set up in eazysien?
Oh yeah, that's a very interesting question. So what we have seen is actually a workflow in which a company sends or asks a consumer to do a signing at home, but there's also, of course, the interesting mobile signing cases in which, for instance, a broker for an insurance company goes to somebody's home and makes a person sign directly at home on his mobile device. And we also have a case in which we, for instance, allow people not to use an ID card, but to use their mobile identity through their mobile devices to make a signature. So these are the types of other flows that we can provide within our solution and that are very attractive for our customers.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gert. So kind of following up, another person has asked, and you kind of touched on this here, so I'm going to add it on. So you don't have to use an EID then with eazysien?
Correct, yes. So there are, so an EID is a very specific way of doing, of signing within Europe, because there's a European decree that states how electronic or digital signatures, as you wish, are made. But of course, it also means that people need like a card reader, which was I unfortunately not able to show, but and that brings us in fact to a situation in which mobile signing through a mobile identity will also be possible.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's see, maybe a follow-up on that. Someone's asked, have Canadian and American laws adapted to digital signatures? So I can touch on that a little bit in regards to the American adoption. So in the U.S. we have both eSign and the Uniform Electronic Transaction Act, or UETA. UETA is adopted by the vast majority of states now, and both those acts or laws concern the acceptance of digital signatures or electronic signatures in this case in the place of wedding signatures. What we find most often actually though, at least in the US, is acceptance of signatures in place of electronic signatures in place of wedding signatures is largely dependent on industry. So for example, in the US we have the FDA has their own CFR 21 Part 11 regulation that dictates what types of signatures you can use in place of wedding. We also have a lot of the engineering industry we've seen a huge increase in digital signature adoption there, and those laws are usually vary state by state. They're dictated by each state's professional engineering board. So while there's a lot of commonalities between the laws and what they require in a signature, it is dependent state by state. So if anyone has any questions about other specific industry acceptance or regulations or meeting compliance, please follow up with us after the webinar and we're happy to run through it. So yeah, great question though. So let's see, moving on here, maybe Evan can touch on this one. Did you say you have a hosted HSM option? How does that work?
Yes, so HSMs have multiple partitions, and these partitions in the HSM itself can hold multiple credentials or certificates in this case. And when it comes to high volume document signing, most only require a single department or company credential. So having an entire HSM can be overkill for a lot of times in this situation. So our hosted solution is pretty simple. You can essentially lease a partition from one of our host HSMs that's hosted in the cloud. So this, on top of significantly reducing cost, it also takes away the need to handle key management and cryptographic operations. So you don't have to have in-house expertise on HSMs. But you can still get a scalable solution with a high signing capacity. So,
great, thanks, Evan. Actually, someone else here has kind of a related question. If you can take another one, how is a digital certificate transferred from GlobalSign to the hosted or owned HSM?
Okay, great. Yeah, great question. So all the key material is generated and stays on the HSM itself. Or the cryptographic device. So whether it's an HSM or you're using like a USB token to sign with. So basically it's called a PKCS10 call. It's a CSR. We would generate the public key, which would remain on the signing server. And during the signing process, the document never leaves the signing environment, and the private key always remains on the HSM. And a hash of that document, which is generated by the signing solution, will actually send that hash through the HSM, generally through an NTLS protected connection, where it will sign the hash and then send it back to the document solution.
Okay, great. Thanks, Evan. Thanks for clarifying. Let's see here. Okay, how about, oh, this looks like a PDF question, so maybe Vera can handle. Can you add a signature to each page of a PDF?
So based on what we went through earlier, the answer is no. You cannot. You have to sign the entire document. It doesn't go page by page. You have one document takes one signature, and you cannot merge signatures within a document.
Okay, great. So that clears that up. I think this might be maybe one for you, Garrett. Someone is asking, and I think this is in regard to eazysien. It says, since Adobe Reader is not used, how is the form presented in the browser? So maybe, Garrett, you could clarify, like, what are we actually looking at here in the browser?
So yeah, that's a very good question actually. So the force or the power of using a web browser is in fact that you don't need to install something locally, and the way we present this is in fact by transforming the document into an HTML5 page, and this is what we are actually showing. And the power is that we check that the content of the page we're showing equals to the content of the PDF page.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. I think that just about wraps it up, and we've gone a little bit over here, so I think we'll follow up with any remaining questions after the webinar. And if anyone has any other questions that have come up in the meantime, please feel free to follow up with any one of us. But yeah, and we've gone a little bit over, so in respect for your time, we'll probably wrap things up now. So I just want to thank you all again for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you to all our presenters, Evan, Vera, and Geert. I appreciate your time, and everything was great, so thanks so much. Okay, thank you again, everyone. Have a great day.